Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video of the life of Rav Shmuel Horowitz from the Sefer Yemei Shmuel, right here. We've been reading this book for the last few months, and now we are finally approaching the end of the World War I in Tzfat and the very, very poor treatment of the Jews and all the different hardships they went through. And as we read on for the next few weeks, hopefully we'll be able to get more into the actual life of Rav Shmuel Horowitz and his journey in Breslov and all that. Before I start the video, before we start reading, I just want to let people know that I'm also uploading these to Spotify, whatever, for to listen to as a podcast. So if you're listening to if you are listening to this on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, this is also a podcast now. So hi, everybody there. It's not only a video, it's also for the podcast. And also, I just released a new song called Snow Days. People are always asking about music, so I just released one song called Snow Days, and now I'm working on another one, starting to write again. And that's it. So let's continue. So we finished off the last video that the English soldiers entered into Tzfat. Basically, like the end of the war, they took back Eretz Yisrael from the Ottoman Empire, from the Germans, or whatever. It says on the second day that the English entered Tzfat, it was Yom Shmini Atzeres in the morning. All the English soldiers, they actually continued on from Tzfat to go to basically chase down the remaining German and Turkish soldiers who ran away to Syria, because the only way to Syria was through Tzfat. And that's how they, that's what it was known, that this was the way to Syria, was through Tzfat. And after a few hours, more English soldiers came from Tiberia. And what's it called? And then they went to just, I guess, bandage themselves up from some injuries, and then they also went to Syria. So he says, Rav Shmuel Horowitz says that. And then the city was again without any shmiro b'li memshala kamim. Like basically, the English, they were the ones who were supposed to take over, but then they left to go run after these guys. So now there's no government, or there's nothing. There's no soldiers in Tzfat at all. And after a few more days, another legion of soldiers went. They came, and then they also went to Syria. And we asked them to please do not leave the city without any guards or anything. And they left 2 soldiers there to watch the whole entire city. And one of these 2 became very sick, so now there was only one to watch the city. And then the city was watched, and basically it was guarded by just this one soldier for a few weeks. And nothing happened, Baruch Hashem. People were scared. They heard that the government of England, whatever, was very tough. Obviously, they weren't the enemy right now for the Jews, but they were tough people. So people were scared. And he says over here that there was one Arab who tried to go to the storage houses of the government of England that were in Tzfat, and they told this one soldier who was watching the whole city, and and this soldier chased him down and beat him. So basically nobody messed around with these guys anymore. Okay, so now Rav Shmuel Horowitz says, okay, so after they captured Eretz Yisrael, the English, now they went and they also captured Syria, and also Aram Naharaim, Aram Tzoiva, and basically after this, the war was finished. Shvisas Hanesek, everyone put down their weapons, and V'nigmara HaMilchama, and the war was finished, Baruch Hashem. And then there was a certain amount of time that there was no government officially in Tzfat, except for this one soldier, like we were speaking about, and then some other Sar, higher up level guy came, and this was on Shabbos, and we all went out to meet him. And then they sent to us another governor, Captain Modi, who was the Moshel B'Tzfat Harbe Shanim. I guess he was the guy who was in charge of Tzfat. He was the governor of Tzfat. And he says that, and Rosh Hashanah says that in his days there was extreme peace and quiet in Tzfat, even when there was riots and other pogroms in Yerushalayim and Yafo. But in Tzfat it was still very, very good. And he made a Jewish guy a judge. And there was Jews who were police officers and commanders. And he also helped us to get food, because then from America came a lot of food and rice and sugar and oil and gas, and everything was made for cheap. So this guy really, really helped out Tzfat. So they were starting to get back on their feet. And then they also made a new Vad Chadash, a new type of committee for the city. And the person who was the head of this committee was also a very good, straight person. And he did a lot of good things for the Charedim and for the Rabbanim and for the people in the yeshivas. And he was very loved by the whole entire city. Okay, fine. I guess, and they were doing, and then I guess everybody was celebrating, that the war was over and everything in the yeshiva of the Brit Vaz. And the Gabbai of the yeshiva, the Gabbai was Rabbi Naftali Chanelis, who we're going to talk about soon more, I think. And we made a big Suda, and my father gave a share. And then they, whatever, the hospital got more doctors, and things started coming. The city started rebuilding. What's it called? And then this head of the committee, like we said before, he started giving more support and money to all the teachers and all the people who were in the yeshiva of the Ridvaz. And my father also, Rav Shmuel Horowitz's father, was able to make everything inside the Hadassah hospital, everything would be, all the food would be kosher, especially on Pesach. And also there was orphanages here. I don't know where these were now, or where they are now, but yeah. And also he got mezuzos, and he put them all on the doors of the whole entire hospital and on the orphanages and stuff. Also, there was a thing in the Hadassah hospital that they wouldn't let any moel, any person who could do a bris, to come into the hospital to circumcise these children. Only a doctor, Haminateach, Dr. Zach Sayishmoy, who was not able to even speak any word of Hebrew or Yiddish, whatever they mean, okay, fine. And he would circumcise all the children without any yarmulke, without any bracha. And my father, Rosh Shmuel Horowitz says, my father worked tirelessly with the Rosh Havad that this doctor should not circumcise the children anymore. Rak, that the moel should be a chassid hagadol harabi Naftali Chanelis, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, who was a very clean and pure and holy person, physically clean too. Obviously, for a moel it's important. V'gam mumche gadol ma'od shekfar moel alfa yuladim. He was actually an expert moel, who already did thousands of bris milos. And on that day that they were working on this situation to get, whatever his father was working on this, there was a Jewish child who was a son of a Jewish Haredi person. They needed to do the bris. And Dr. Zaks, this doctor who was doing the bris milos, he said that this child is not healthy and we can't do the bris. And my father did not rest at all, and he did not stay quiet until they bought more doctors. And they said and those doctors said it's possible to do the bris. And the father of this child was already sitting inside his house because he already gave up. The baby was in the hospital and he gave up already from doing the bris milah. But my father worked on this the whole entire day until close to evening. They got the ishur, they got permission to do the bris, and I ran to my father. And I ran to the father of this kid and to the moel, I guess from Naftali Chanalis. Uvahavi minyan anoshim, and we bought a minyan of men, and we did a bris. Baruch Hashem, this was the beginning that Rabbi Naftali Chanalis would start doing all the bris milas in the hospital, and not the doctor. And my father, he's saying that my father did a lot of good things for the Jews of the city. Okay, so now after the Sukkot, this was on Shmini Atzeres, right after Sukkot, this is all happening after Sukkot now. Nachmi Yitzanu, my family left from our old apartment, and we came into a new apartment in Tzfat, in the old city. And the Jews were prospering. It was good stuff. It was quiet after the war. Everything was good. And it says when it got close to Lag BaOmer was on Sunday. Many people came from Jerusalem and from other places to be in Tzfat for Shabbos. And this is also how it is today when Lag BaOmer is on Motzei Shabbos Sunday. A lot of people come to Tzfat for Shabbos. And also Dr. Keller from Hadassah in Yerushalayim, who was a very precious man, and everybody loved him. He was with us for Shabbos, and it was a great Shabbos of Simcha, a great Shabbos of happiness in Tzfas. And many people were also in Shabbos in Meron. Speaking of Meron, the attack on Shabbos here in Meron, Shabbos morning. Seems to be Meron is a popular thing these days. Anyway, Baruch Hashem, we're all okay. So now they went on Erev Shabbos Kodesh with the Sefer Torah to Meron, because you know the story I always tell in my stories, in my Torahs in Tzfat. There's a shul, there was a family that started this minhag in Tzfat to bring a Sefer Torah every year on Lag BaOmer, Erev Lag BaOmer, to Meron, and they still do it till today. And Rav Shmuel Horowitz mentions this custom over here that it was since Lag BaOmer was on Sunday, so they took the Sefer Torah already on Erev Shabbos, and they danced all the way to Meron. All the men, women, and children got together, and all the great people in the city, and the governor and everything, and they went to the house of this one Sephardi Rav, and they went to the Beis Knesses to take the Sefer Torah, and they all went with different instruments. This is what they do still today. And everybody went to the mountain, which from there you go to Meron, so I'm not sure which way they went, but whatever, probably somewhere next to Tzfat, obviously. And it was great Simcha until people were crying because of the Simcha. So they took Sefer Torah to Meron, whoever wanted to be there for Shabbos, and then some people stayed in Tzfat for Shabbos. Shabbos Hayah B'Rayv Simcha. And many people went, obviously, Motzei Shabbos, to take part in the Hadlaka in Meron, to take part in the fire. And some people waited till Sunday morning, and they went with donkeys. And everyone, I guess it was a certain route that they took. So like he's saying that the whole day people were walking back and forth. There was donkeys back and forth. So obviously Meron was happening. It was big stuff even back then. And we came to Meron. Baruch Hashem, Rosh Hashanah says we had a great Lag BaOmer in Meron, and the main thing is that it was quiet and we had peace finally after this whole war until Pesach in the year Tov Reish Pei, which is when until these riots and pogroms started in Yerushalayim, and that's that. So let's see what's going to be like that. Now, Rosh Hashanah Horowitz says, and now there was a story. I think we'll do this will be the last parak today. He said that there was a story that one time on Shabbos, like early morning, Shabbos Lifnais Erev. I guess right after candlelighting, Mincha, Ma'ariv, whatever, maybe Shabbos day. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. Me and my father were in our Beis Medrash, which is the Beis Medrash of Chabad, which is also very close to my house. Obviously, it's rebuilt now, whatever. And it was already nighttime, and my mother was alone in the house, and she heard some sort of like tziftzuf, like a hiss, like from like a snake. and she felt something by her feet, and she sent to call my father from the shul. And when my father heard this, he told me to go find Pinchas the Baker, who I guess happened to also be a snake catcher. Who that's what it says. It says that he was a mumche litpois nechashim v'lo yarem mehem klal. He was an expert on how to capture snakes, and he was not afraid of them at all. And when Pinchas the Baker came, he said he smells a snake, and he searched, but he couldn't find it. He said the eitzah is now to smoke out the house with a klipat beitza. I guess, okay, light a eggshell on fire and use smoke from that, okay. And in the morning, take a horn from a ram, and then also put that with the klipat beitza and make smoke, and then the snake will smell it, and it will show itself. So I guess this was Motzei Shabbos, not on Friday night, and we did this, but we didn't see anything. And it was already 2 weeks, and we didn't know what to do. We gave up. And one time, me and my father were just sitting there. We were learning, and the children were sitting and playing. Or machzan, the storage. And all of a sudden, my sister came, who was a little girl. What's it called? And she called my father to show him that in the chutzner, in the courtyard, was laying on the floor a beautiful belt made of silk. Obviously, that was a snake. My father went to see, and he saw that it was not a beautiful belt. He saw that it was a very huge, thick, dangerous snake, which had a white appearance with spots. Whatever. And they thought it was a belt. And it was a big nace that didn't even touch it. And that the snake didn't hurt them. And we put the kids inside the house, we closed the door, and we called for Pinchas the Baker. And then the snake moved a little bit, but he got him. And Pinchas caught him. Hold on. So Pinchas is trying to catch the snake. He wanted to catch him. He said obviously it's better when you catch a snake to catch it by its head, but the only way he could do it was by its tail. He wasn't able to get into a good position to do that. So he grabbed it by its tail, by the end of it, and obviously the snake bit him on his hand. And he took care, I guess he spit on his hand, took care of it when he wasn't hurt at all. And then he got the head. And he stuck his hand inside the snake's mouth and took out the poison. I guess you take out their teeth. I don't know exactly how it works, whatever. Oh, and he gave it to his daughter to wear on a necklace around her neck. And we gave him 2 shillings for this work that he did. So that's just a little Tzfat history. Pinchas the Baker, who was the snake catcher in Tzfat. All right, hopefully next week we will do more.